Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm making a different kind of video. I see in the comments often, I shared this with a friend to help them get better at Apex Legends. Well, today, that is that type of video. So a lot of the stuff you're going to know how to do. We all have those newcomers that come to Apex Legends, and there's just so much to cover. Today's video, I made a brand new account, and we're going to go through a checklist of getting them set up from the bare basics, from mouse and keyboard, finding their sensitivity, even on controller. I'm going to plug in a controller and kind of discuss that briefly. Then highlight future things that a newcomer will need to know, but they're not going to master on day one. Remember, please allow your friend about 15 to 20 minutes to get things set up. It's been 2 years since I've made a new account, and it's hard to remember just how much you need to change in game and remind them to get them all set up for success. Today's video, we're going to discuss quite literally first steps to launching the game and all settings, finding your sensitivity for controller, mouse and keyboard, or converting it, what to do in the test range that is helpful, talk about guns and attachments, the hardest mechanics for newcomers, and key things to learn for the future. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all of these steps. I'm even going to go through the training tutorial as if I was a new player and give tips and advice as we're going through it. And I'll timestamp everything to make it efficient for somebody who's new joining Apex Legends. So again, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope this is educational for all you newcomers to Apex Legends. I welcome you if this is your first time on the game, and let's get right into it. Okay, now that we're segueing to this portion of the video, I do have a controller plugged in. You can see that. So when we cover converting sensitivities for that portion, this is going to be very redundant for those that have already been indoctrinated into Apex Legends. But if you're sharing this with a friend, we're going to have to go through the training. I have made a new account. I don't have anything unlocked here. Only setting I changed was changing the audio. So then you didn't hear the music in the background. I'll play some music in the background, but I'll overlay my own music whenever I'm editing. So let's learn the ropes. Remember, give your friend please 15 to 20 minutes before they play with you. I know that it seems a little unfair, especially when you want to play with them right away, but it's really important. There's so much to cover in Apex Legends is what we're going to do right now. We're going to discuss first the settings and my sensitivity already right off the rip. So as you're in here and they're teaching you, the first thing you need to do is already change your sensitivity. They already teach you how to move, how to jump around, how to crouch. There's so much I already need to change and switch to keybinds, and I'm going through this process so we forget just how much we have to change, right? There's so much that we have to change, and I realize that I have a setting on, so I'm going to cut. There we go, perfect. And these commands do change. So before you go down and follow him, let's go through some of the keybinds and some of the graphic settings first before he starts talking, because he kind of give you the introduction. My sensitivity is way too fast, and I apologize that I have to tab out there. I had the little overlay thing, and I want to change that. So let's go through some settings real quick. Now, the biggest thing I would change right off the rip is your FOV. Let's drop that to max. Your native resolution already defaults to what you had before. Change your sprint view shake to minimum. All of this should be pretty much on. You want to disable VSync. You want to have NVIDIA Reflex enabled to boosted. You don't want to have adaptive resolution. Anti-aliasing, I prefer it off. It looks a little blurry in my opinion. Texture streaming budget, this is where your graphics look the prettiest. You know, you can put it on high depending what you have. If you want to drop it to make it look completely Pepega, that's up to you. You get more frame rate that way. Texture budgeting, this one, yeah, I'd put to 16. I have a 3080, but if you need more oomph, just turn this off. Turn it to bilinear. Now, for ambient occlusion, you don't need that. Turn that off. Turn sun shadow coverage off. All this is to save FPS. Turn this off. Turn volumetric lighting off. Model detail can be high, because that doesn't, it just makes the game look pretty. It gives you enough detail to where it looks nice. Turn off the effect detail to low, impact marks disabled, ragdoll to low. Now for audio, master volume, the game can be quite loud, so if you want to turn it down just a little bit, I'd usually drop mine to around 75, around 69, no pun intended there. Sound playing in the background is not a bad thing to have, especially if you tab out quite a bit. Play incoming text-to-speech off. You don't need that unless you prefer it. And then convert incoming voice to chat text. You can turn that on if you prefer. Now, I recommend doing push-to-talk. You don't want to have a hot mic, so do push-to-talk, and we'll talk about the keybind in just a moment. Your brightness on your monitor is completely up to you. I think mine was already set to 80, so I'm going to leave that there. We'll come back to controller when we talk about sensitivity. Now, mouse sensitivity. You can change this in the config file, which I have a video on. I'm going to put in the description down below for you guys. But you can also just change it here. This is the same settings as CSGO, so if you play CSGO, this is an easy conversion because this uses the source engine. If you're using the source engine, you can do that. If you want to convert per sensitivity, per optic, you can turn this on. I usually have in the past, and I would recommend utilizing a converter. I have also in the description software that I've utilized. You can utilize AimLab as an example. You can utilize mousesensitivity.com. That's also another great website. And I will put those both in the description down below for you guys to reference, because that's very niche. So if you're very much new, most of the time you're just going to deal with wanting to mess with the main optic. Otherwise, this defaults to 1, meaning that as you get a higher optic, it is a slower sensitivity. Now this is 5. This is way too high for me. I believe my sensitivity was around 0.7. To get more granular, I think it was 0.678. I don't know, something along those lines. But right now I want to put it just to 0.7, just for simplicity's sake. You want to have mouse acceleration off, mouse invert off, lighting effects. Sometimes this can mess with stuff, so leave this off. Now, let's look at all the keybinds, what it defaults to. One thing I actually didn't realize when I was teaching somebody the game is that, we'll get to that setting in just a moment. There is a solid difference between having crouch to both toggle and hold. I recommend key binding them to two different things. To toggle, so whenever you're trying to creep up on somebody, I like to do toggle to Z, and I like to do hold to C for my bunny hopping. Now for jump, I have space, I have sprint here. For W, I like to do up scroll wheel, because that's when I use my tap strafe for. And for bunny hopping, I like to add bottom scroll wheel. That's a big recommendation. Let's see here. Where is the jump? E. I'm blanking. Oh, there we go. Put that to bottom scroll wheel. Tactical ability. So that's to Q, and also mouse 4. Let's see if they changed anything. Interact, pick up. I prefer F. This is really kind of up to you guys, or what you guys prefer to utilize. I prefer to put that F because I like to move my. I'm gonna move my tactic. I like to move my heel to E, something that's a lot more accessible. That's a personal preference thing. So just understand, and we'll talk through that in a moment. Actually, let's go down into the yard with Bloodhound, and we're gonna discuss that. And also, I like to change ping to Alt. All right, so all of those are here. Let's continue on with some of the settings real quick. Leave these to default because you're gonna need to know. Well, as you get better, you need to see less of the prompts, but have that on. Leave button hits on since you're still learning. We'll talk about these settings as we start to shoot things. Leave this to default. Leave obituaries on so that you can see the players who have been eliminated. Map rotation off. Weapon cycle when on empty. That's a personal preference thing. Auto sprint. This is also a personal preference thing. Double tap to sprint. Also personal preference. I prefer incoming feedback on both. Taking damage closes crafting menu or box. This is also personal preference, but when you're trying to switch armors, I like to leave this off. So that's just an FYI. Hop up and pop up. It'll let you know. Leave that on for now. Streamer mode, you don't need that. Anonymous mode, don't have to worry about that. Performance display is good for newcomers so you understand what your FPS is at. Colorblind mode, these are for changing your sights and what things are colored. We're going to leave this at default. Subtitles, we're going to leave that off. You can change the subtitle size and so forth. So now let's go down. So this is settings, okay, for a newcomer. We're going to go through the motions, and we're going to talk about everything in here. Because I still need to change a keybind while I'm down here as we're learning this. So you open up the bin. The quick thing, you can, when you hold G, this is how you switch to a different nade if you have the option to. So important to know you can have multiple, right? So I'm going to throw the nade. Now it says tap 4 to use health kit. Okay, this is where it gets interesting. I really much prefer to switch. This is personal preference. I like to open up my healing wheel. Let's see here. Use selected heal item. Because you can, yes, change every single heal to a certain keybind. I prefer to utilize the... Let me find where it's at. 1 second. There is a setting here that where you can use selected heal item. I prefer to put this over to E or something. You can definitely use syringe, med kit, cell, battery, and have it bound to different keybinds. But I prefer to have it on E to have all of this here. So there's like, it's kind of like the ping menu. See how I have the options in the ping menu and you hold? So you hold E and then you press your heal item. There's a lot you can do when it comes to healing, such as a little bunny hop and things of that nature. But you can select between the healing item. I'm going to change the ultimate ability to V. Now these are just personal preference of what I personally prefer to do. So let's continue onward. So my interact key is all set there. See how I have my both toggle and crouch to different commands there. So as you're changing settings and going through this is a really good tip. Remember that it does kind of screw things up because it's part of your checklist. So let me keybind that. So even if you're a really experienced player, it's crazy to remember how much you kind of have to do here. So I'm going to change that to Y. There we go. I'm never going to use that keybind, just as an FYI. Another one, if you already notice, it's set to hold initially. Let us go through. I'm going to switch this to hold. See, this is something that you have to do. Change it to hold. And of course, it teaches you the ping system. Right now, I switched it over to Alt. This is also a personal preference thing. You can pull up the menu, you can double tap and ping an enemy. Now what Pathfinder does here is it just teaches you how to use your ultimate ability. He covers like a few of these things. I don't know if I'm going to leave this in the video. This is pretty straightforward in terms of abilities. I'm excited to fight you in Perfect. So once you've actually finished the tutorial and brought down the care package, I skipped just because I didn't, want to save you guys all time. You wrap up and you go to the main menu and then you can queue up for everything else that you're doing. This is for a brand new account. So now you can choose between all the various game modes. What we're going to do is going to go right back into the firing range. There's a difference. If you want to redo the training, you definitely can. But the firing range has a whole different set of things that is very helpful for you. And we're going to discuss those now as we go in. If you're brand new to the game, you'll need to use Pathfinder to get up here. You won't have Horizon, which is a little bit easier to do as Horizon. You can have stuff like armor and various things. I just because I'm me and you don't need to do it, but I just dump everything out. And if you mess up your thing, you can press M, reset your ability. There we go. Got it that time. And you look down and you crouch. Toggle crouch and look down at the bottom. But you hear that little click when the dummies are turned on. So that's that one spot. I have many videos on how to turn on the target dummies. It's on the furthest one over here. And that's where you do it. So now we have target dummies that are going to shoot at us. And I'm going to showcase this example very quickly. This is also going to be earlier in the video. On the type of heals. What I've done now is I turn off the bots because I'm going to go through things to kind of start off if you're on Apex Legends and talk about the armors and everything here. The plus side, don't let your friend really rush you through the game. It's really important that you at least come in here and maybe shoot the various weapons, understand which ones are here, and we'll talk through them. So let's look at all the various heal items. So a cell restores 25 HP. So on the bottom left, you'll see the HP bar. This will heal up one part of your HP, one of those little segments that you see. Right now the armor has 5, so if I grab a purple, it has 4, and we'll talk about that in just a second. A battery full heals all of that armor damage that you take. A syringe heals only a portion of your HP. A med kit fully heals your HP. Now a Phoenix kit will fully heal everything. Now the difference between all of these heals that you're looking at is that they're going to heal you at various speeds. The cells are the fastest, but they heal the least, 3 seconds. It has it over the timer there. This one heals in 5 seconds, but is 100% of your shield. So this one technically would be faster if you're trying to get to full. This one's 5 seconds, 25 HP, 8 seconds, 100% of your health, and then 10 seconds to restore everything. Important to know. Now you can utilize an accelerant to pop your ultimate, make it pop a lot faster. For those that are new, that's your ultimate ability. Everyone has one. Pathfinder happens to have a zipline. Those using Wraith, she has a portal. And the descriptions of everything they do are listed here in the test range. That's why I highly recommend, excuse me, I highly recommend coming into the test range and playing around, because you can reset your abilities by pressing M, which is how you pull up the little menu here, and switching to a different character. You could technically just keep pulling back and forth between lifeline and keep throwing another bot. You can keep popping smokes and reset it by resetting your character. I know it's spammy, but it teaches you, right? That's important. Let's discuss the various armors. Every armor in the game is now Evo. They have these here as they were what was prior. So wide armor is your most basic armor. Let's go through those real quick. This absorbs 50 damage. This one absorbs 75. This one absorbs 100. This one absorbs 125. So remember the cells and what
shield cell here.
They pick up over time. Now the helmets reduce damage, and there's a percentile with it. You can look at the percentile online. I don't have it memorized, but I know a white helmet has a little bit of a reduction, blue helmet a little bit more, purple a little bit more, and then gold has the reduction and also your tactical ability. So consider these both the maximum headshot reduction as well as the recharge time on your ultimate and tactical ability. So that's a very big benefit. Just remember that the clear or white is the lowest, and blue is the second, and then purple is the next tier, and then red or gold is like the highest tier you can get. Same thing with the bags. You need to carry 2 more items, 4 more items, 6 more items. And this one, the purple and the gold are the same. The difference is that you can revive squad mates with bonus shields and health. Now, same thing here. You need a knockdown shield. Whenever you get knocked down, you'll have a little shield that you put in front of you. This one absorbs 200, 450, 750. And this one is also 750, but you can use as a self-revive as well. So quite beneficial. So now let's talk about some of the attachments. Let's grab a winger doodle. You can see the ammo's there. Let's talk about the attachments. You have a level 1, which is the white mag. You have a level 2, same as before, a little more ammo. You have a purple. And then you have a gold mag, which automatically reloads weapons. It's still the highest ammo capacity. See how it doesn't change? And that's there for you. So now let's add a little bit of a stock here of what they do. They improve handling and reduce aim drift. Meaning whenever you're ADS, some of that drift that you may or may not see. It's more noticeable whenever you have a higher magnification. See the breathing there? Perfect. So that reduces it just a little bit. And then as you keep upping it, the drift and also your handling changes. So helpful. I would say the most important here would be the barrel stabilizers. This reduces the recoil. And then we have lots of guides on this. So you see, let me pop the gun here and we'll take a shot. So you see the base recoil. You get a level 1, a little bit lower, a little bit lower, and that's the max that you're going to see there. You have different sights you can attach. You can't attach all the same sights to various guns. You can have a 1x on the wingman, a 2x on the wingman, a holo, a 1x2. A 1x2, you hit shift to toggle there. And then of course you can have the fun digital threat. So then you can see people through smoke and stuff. You can't attach a 3x to this, as you can tell. You cannot attach a 2x4. Those are used for the ARs and other weaponry. But for a sniper, you'll have a bit more options here. You can have a 6x, which applies for a sniper rifle. You can also put a 4x8, or you can put a 4x10. So I recommend just attaching these. This is the same thing as sniper stock, fast handling and larger aim drift. All of that makes a big difference for you improving, and having those makes combat situations much easier. Now, in terms of grenades, you have a few options here. You have the Arc Star, which sticks. Sticks to people. You just have your regular frag grenade. Remember, you hold G to bring these up. Throw your nade. Just test those out. And then, of course, you have your thermite. Your thermite is a wall of fire. And there you go. So, remember, Explodey Boy, Sticky Boy, Wall of Fire Boy. Or girl, whichever one you prefer. So, what I would do if I was recommending if you were new to the game, I have different weapon tier lists, but play with every single gun before you hop in game. It's a battle royale, so you never really know what gun you're going to get. It's like your Forrest Gump. Pull out these various weapons and just shoot with them and realize the ammo that they take. Shotgun has, you know, the red armor. Energy guns have the energy here. Care package weapons come from the care package from down below. They do not refill ammo. Once their ammo is all gone, that is all gone, and GG's on that. But you can pick up another care package weapon if you choose. You also have a sniper weapon, sniper ammo, that's blue-purple. I think it's lavender. You have the green-bluish color, which is heavy ammo. And then you have, of course, at the very end here, you have light ammo, the yellow. And there you go. So I recommend when you turn on the bots, I didn't have them on during this because otherwise they would definitely bother you as you're moving around.
Give me a second.
Very important to cover. And we discussed the little menu already about healing. So now, while you're in here, let's discuss sensitivity settings. So as you're getting comfortable and the bots are moving around, you're trying to get used to that sensitivity and find what works best for you. You want to be able to move in a solid 360. There's a lot of movement when it comes to Apex Legends, as it's infamously known for. So you want to find a sensitivity. You want to be able to move your arm, hand in your desk space and make sure that it's enough. Remember that whenever you ADS, your sensitivity is also a lot slower. You want to be able to do a nice 180 if somebody appears right behind you to be able to take a shot. So if you were to go to the extremes, I would go start high, maybe a little too high. Let's go to like 5.1. This is really, really fast on my DPI. I'm using right now 1800 DPI. It's what I used a long time ago. I've been messing around with it for fun. You can definitely control this, but you know, then you're going to do quick 180s. So start to drop that down and then also go the other spectrum where you're maybe 0.2 or 0.1, right? And figure out where your sweet spot is. This is way too slow for me, right? So you start to one-up it, you know, take it slow and move around a little bit. This is how I recommend. We're going to do the same thing for controller in just a minute as well. And if you have a game where you've already found your sensitivity, again, utilize mousesensitivity.com, utilize AimLab, and convert from there. I got all those links down in the description down below, as well as the config file there as a reference for you, if that pertains to you specifically. So let us continue onwards. You keep upping that sensitivity. You want to be able to track. And I actually recommend, as you're doing this and having issues typing for some reason, moving up to this target here and able to move comfortably your mouse, right? This isn't bad. 0.4 is definitely slow for me. But if you're trying to track and how much mouse pad, this is really slow still. And even if you were going from like the 5 spectrum and dropping it down until you find where you feel comfortable, and let's say you want to do 3. Okay, that's a bit better. And you keep dropping it down until you find that sweet spot. Still quite fast, because remember, whenever you're ADS, it's also going to be fast as well. And you just keep dropping. You keep dropping that setting until you find that nice sweet spot. So if I'm around 1, or like we saw at the very start, you're at 0.7, that's where you're going to find your sensitivity, or you convert it. And I'm being big Pepega, I can't seem to type. Okay, so, and then 0.7, I think it's 0.673, something around those lines, where I feel very comfortable. And that's where you feel comfortable there. So let's discuss controller next. So now I know I still have the overlay there. And okay, now I have the controller here. All my keybinds and everything. Kind of poke around, get used to what everything does. You know, I pull out the grenade, throw it. I don't know what it defaults to. Let's see what it defaults to. There's quite a bit of settings here. You can change your stick layout if you prefer. You can do Southpaw, Legacy, Legacy Paw. I'm going to leave it to default for now. I'm going to change crouch to hold. That would be more for bunny hopping. I want to do hold for this. I'll leave this on. Trigger doesn't leave it to default. 3 and 4 is actually a pretty comfortable spot. Yeah, I'm going to do... You can change your ADS. You can even change per optic if you like for this. Especially when a sniper, whenever it's really slow, when you get like a high zoom. I'm going to give an example of this. This is pretty beneficial to controller because it can be really hard whenever you have a high magnification, but you can change this per optic, and I feel like a lot of controller players tend to forget that. So you see how it's already really slow. So if we go into the menu, and if you're a controller, I recommend doing this. I'm doing per optic. I have a 6x, so let's switch this to insane. See how this is a lot more manageable? Of course, it scales based on your base sensitivity, but if you were trying to do this, I apologize, I hit some of my settings there. If you try to do this at just default, you're going to see if it's a lower sensitivity. I'm holding the stick, but how slow that actually is, right? So you want to find the sensitivity that's going to be best for you. Most just default to 3/4, but of course you can change these per optic and per zoom to what feels comfortable for you. So don't be shy to change these, especially if you run a really low sensitivity. Or if you like, you can just default in general to what feels best for you. You can leave these at the same if you like. If it was me, I wouldn't do that, but that's, again, I would probably do 3, 4, leave all those at default, and then change these to pretty much insane to be able to manage them. Otherwise, it just would be way too difficult. If I were to grab a flat line, let's grab the 3x. Might be a little too high for the 3x. Yeah, let's change that. So that's how you would essentially work this. This would be a little too high. I would probably run this 4. A little better. A little better. I'm not a controller player main, so it's good to go through this exercise. As you know me as more mouse and key, you have your ultimate that you can also throw. Just play around. Play around is the key. This is a controller segment of the video. I know you see the mouse and keyboard overlay, but I'm clearly not using it, and I have this instead. You can learn how to slide jump and do everything that you need to. So now, let's segue to the next part of the video. So the next part of the video here is discussing movement and why it's so important in Apex Legends. Things that you're not going to master as a beginner day one, but you have to be aware of. One of them is always slide jumping with every single thing that you do in the game. Slide jumping is easiest to do whenever you're pressing toggle. That's just a personal preference thing. You can definitely do hold if you like. You can see here, I use hold. I just have an issue pressing both jump and hold. That's why you also have scroll wheel to kind of balance it out. So this is just find what works best for you. You can also, there's a command that you can put in. I'm going to overlay it here on the screen for you guys, where you can see your velocity. And velocity is very, very important. I apologize I don't have it on the screen at the moment, but it'll tell you how fast you're moving on the upper left-hand side of your screen. So you put that in the command bar when it's on Steam, whether it's on Origin, to see how fast you're moving. Another thing you're going to need to learn how to do is your bunny hop. Your bunny hop is easiest to do whenever you're using scroll wheel, and then whenever you're using hold. So technically you can remove the forward key, and as you can tell I'm pressing A and D and bunny hopping. You can also bunny hop heal. Remember, it does slow down, so use geometry to kind of speed you up.
Recharging shield.
And be sure whenever you're moving your mouse that you're keeping the momentum by moving your mouse left and right, left and right, left and right. So that's a basic introduction to bunny hopping. I have a video, I'll put that in the description down below as a reference. Now the other thing that you should be aware of as a newcomer is wall bouncing. I have a video tutorial on this as well. I'll put it down in the description for you as well. But remember, these are just things to be aware of. This is what we consider wall bounce. You can get more detailed with it and get more fancy and then wall bounce away. These are things as a newcomer when you see somebody do something crazy of what they're actually doing. Another thing I'll have in the description down below is a tap strafe. Tap strafe will get you around a corner, and you can also use it as a misdirect. I also have that in my basic movement guide. So when you misdirect and move around. A tap strafe, when you utilize it, will move you to a different direction. Same thing whenever you super jump on a zip line. So all of that I will have in the description down below. Just don't overwhelm yourself. I put this at the very end of the video because those are all little advanced movement techniques and things that you can use to utilize. This video is to get your friends set up and know what's coming on the horizon, right? I hope you shared this with a friend. I hope this was helpful for people out there. I hope this is beneficial to really break down the basics and have somebody talk to you about everything in Apex Legends. I want to thank you so much for watching. If I earned your sub for today, I really appreciate it. If you're new here on the channel, there's so much here on the channel to help you improve. Let me know if there's anything I can break down further for you guys. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next time.